It was a unique time in history, and it was a unique group of people who came together to help make new history.
Especially in the early 60s, it was very lonely to be a black student on campus. I was the only black student in most of my classes.
When I first started at UCLA, I think there were only 2 graduate students who were American Indian.
I looked out there and I couldn't see any faces that looked like me.
It was a point in time in which we were really just beginning to see the development of diversity on major university campuses.
There were a lot of things wrong in Westwood. You couldn't get an apartment. They had a housing office where the people would hang up their apartments to let. But the moment you walked in the door, they would say on the phone it was available. When you walked in the door and they saw you were black or brown, they'd say no.
There was a feeling that things needed to change, that there was a need to develop programs that were oriented toward the various ethnic groups.
Everyone was realizing, I think, the truth of the demands of students of color and just communities of color. So, and everything was being questioned.
We set about creating an agenda for change, an agenda that focused on the needs of the community, and then there was also a strategy for changing the institution that we were in.
In the beginning, nobody knew what ethnic studies meant. It was just a made-up term.
It had a lot of struggling in the first few years, just to stay alive.
You have to realize that there were no textbooks for any of these things in the 70s. There were no textual materials.
We had no publications, we had no research, we had no efforts to maintain and establish our history.
There were very few faculty. Most of the faculty who were interested in Indian studies were non-native people.
It was all sort of whatever we could beg and borrow in the form of those faculty who were willing to sign up, you might say.
You look back at that point in time when the numbers of students and faculty from the ethnic minorities was so small. There was a need to find a togetherness with your fellows before you could become a part of the whole. And that's one of the things that the students were pressing for.
We meant business, and we had a lot of victories. It was amazing how fast people changed.
Actually, it was a very exciting time because whatever we did, whatever the center did, whatever was happening in the community, it was all new.
Clearly, one of the things that the centers did was to provide a home.
The study center was a place I could hang out and meet people that kind of had some of the same ideas.
It was a place to interact and talk and talk about not only what was wrong with society, what was wrong with UCLA, but what could be done to change it.
They not only provided a home and an opportunity to come together and to feel that there was a place from which they could reach out, but that it validated their existence and their presence.
There is such a thing as ethnic studies. There are different people out there. They're not all the same, and if you want to know about them, there are ways of learning about them.
One of the watchwords we had was, "We are still here, and we're going to be here. And what we have to say is worthwhile, and where we come from is worthwhile, and we want you all to know about it."
We have made great progress. I think that that progress is as much due to what happened in universities in the late 1960s, 70s, maybe early 80s, as anything else. And I like to think that UCLA played a very great leadership role in bringing that about.